proudly presents the Wrestling is Real podcast, because wrestling needs us. Brought to you by KingofAmazon.com. Go to KingofAmazon.com when you do your shopping for Amazon to help the King of Podcasts. Shop for Amazon at KingofAmazon.com. Call it poetic justice tonight for Drew McIntyre, your new WWE Universal Champion. Crowned tonight, defeating Brock Lesnar at WrestleMania 36. Day 2, I know it's night, but I don't care. Day 2 of WrestleMania 36. I want to quote the original entrance theme for Drew McIntyre. We all remember it, Broken Dreams, a great song. Well, Jim Johnston wrote the lyrics, and it is poetic what he says here and how it somehow relates to tonight. What's that metronome I hear? Perhaps the end is drawing near. You never hear the shot that takes you down. Now your dream's a memory and seems more true from far away, just like smoke that fades and makes no sound. Out of time, so say goodbye. What was yours now is mine. I dream broken dreams. I make them come true. I'll make them for you. Very interesting how that kind of plays at words from tonight because of the career that Drew McIntyre had from going back to 2006, even before that. I mean, it's incredible the trail that this kid had to go through to get to where he was. And I wasn't sure he would be able to make it, but you know, it's really amazing that what Vince McMahon might have seen and might have deemed the chosen one, the future of the company, eventually happened. And the chip on his shoulder really played to a lot. A very well told story with Royal Rumble. The way they set up the match was very well done. And to make Drew McIntyre as strong as he possibly could be leading up to this match really helped a lot. To think if there was anybody that was going to be able to go ahead and beat Brock Lesnar, because we keep asking ourselves, who's the next person that's going to be that person that would take down Brock Lesnar? Roman Reigns has done it. John Cena's done it. Who else could? Seth Rollins has done it. Who else could? And with no plunder, no interference, nothing, a straight-up wrestling match. And Drew McIntyre flat out won. Flat out won. The story being told was very simple. Drew McIntyre had what it takes to be it. The next part of the lyrics of Broken Dreams, almost to the mountaintop, you slip and fall just like a stone. That was 2007, 2008, right? 2006 was the high point. And then it just did not come up from there. And he just muttered, you had it all right in your grasp, but in a breath your minute passed. Now at last the end has come, you are all alone. So what's funny is it was about the fact that they really told the story about him going to do the 3-man band and really just being made into a joke. And to think that he left. Impact Wrestling, he finds himself and builds himself back up. I don't care what anybody says. You can't take away what he did as Drew Galloway in Impact Wrestling to get him back to where he needed to be. Because who he is right now, as you see him as Universal Champion, is not much different than what he is here. There's not much difference. Impact Wrestling saw him as a champion. In the current day of WWE, he's now a champion. Now, maybe if he would have stayed around, maybe he would have finally been considered. But for whatever reason, they decided to put the rock on him this time. He has the ball. He gets to carry it. And that's a great thing to see at the end of the night. To close out WrestleMania altogether, the 2-night event, that was a great thing to see. The outcome of night 2, day 2, is what I really enjoy. Because I think 2 stories were being told very well. John Cena, Bray Wyatt also told a very good story. And in the situation that we have, I think John Cena, Bray Wyatt, and AJ Styles Undertaker, they benefited most by not having the arena fill the fans. Because I don't know what the Firefly Funhouse match would have been if they wanted to include the fans in it. Because they need to have the fans to be involved in some way, somehow, of the match. Now, Otis getting the girl, getting Mandy Rose, beating Dolph Ziggler. That was a moment you would have loved the crowd to have been all over. And Drew McIntyre winning the belt over Brock Lesnar. That was something else you wish you could have had tonight as well. I mean, Drew not getting a chance to go and be in front of that crowd, it's unfortunate, but it doesn't matter. The time is the time of when you win that belt. So regardless, it was WrestleMania. Drew McIntyre was given the chance to have that match with Brock Lesnar, and he came out winner. And now you have two different champions. On the men's side, completely. No changes for the women's side, except for the women's tag team titles. But really, Raw, SmackDown Women's Championships intact. On the men's side, two new heavyweight champs. Big difference. I guess when seeing Braun Strowman here having his match against Goldberg, you can see how that could be played out. The way they got there sucked. But the way they got there is a way to go. And, you know, they needed to get the belt on somebody. They wanted to drop the belt off of Goldberg to someone. Who else could it be except for a fluke chance that Braun Strowman could do it? That's what they chose to do. That was the right call. For Drew McIntyre to beat Brock Lesnar after everything's been going on, that was the right call. And I must say, I think some good rehab was done for Bray Wyatt and The Fiend tonight. Now, there's a little bit of a mix. I mean, look, the Boneyard match is a legacy that will never be duplicated. That is the bar of which any other WWE produced wrestling matches or featured matches at all. That is the bar that has been set. That is a high damn bar. Now, anything else that's ever going to be done production-wise like this, including tonight's Firefly Funhouse match, it's going to have to reach that bar. It has to reach a level of the Boneyard match. That is a tough calling, my friend. I don't know anybody who's going to be able to do that. I don't know how WWE does that. Now, the one thing I did notice a few things about last night's Boneyard match, Matt Hardy praised the match, loved it, thought, and it's absolutely true. The final deletion, which I ended up watching last night after the Boneyard match just to catch it again, the final deletion only had to happen for the Boneyard match to happen. Do you understand that? If we don't get the final deletion, we would have never gotten the Boneyard match. So it just happened to be that way. And the Firefly Funhouse match probably wouldn't have been what it was. I think having this match the way it was for Firefly Funhouse was good. It wasn't a whole lot of moving around. We didn't need to see John Cena have a full match and do, his normal stuff because it's not in front of a crowd. Now, if you have the crowd and he gets to do the, five-knuckle shuffle, you can't see me, the old standards, the greatest hits, that's one thing. But we didn't even get this tonight. We got this whole nostalgic trip back in time. Calling out Saturday night's main event. Calling out recreating the Kurt Angle Ruthless Aggression moment, the debut of John Cena. Recreating Thugonomics. Recreating NWO. I enjoyed it all. I thought it was hilarious. I thought the Vince McMahon character was good. The Saturday night's main event opener, that was good. The Hulk Hogan steel cage thing where you had, I thought the mind game stuff, it was like kind of a Twilight Zone kind of feel. Very goofy and hokey, but that's okay. That's what I like in my wrestling. I like this kind of stuff. See, I guarantee you some people that looked at the Boneyard match yesterday and the seriousness of it, and then the hokiness of the Firefly Funhouse match, you're going to have some people that just like the final deletion, you're going to have some naysayers, some people that didn't like it. Because it was too hokey, too goofy, too jokey. Got it. Understood. And I know people were like that before, and I'm like, honestly, I don't mind it at all. I thought this was good, and I thought the way they brought in The Fiend to win the match. And also bringing back Bray Wyatt to fully encompass the whole story. I think the way they told the story of Bray Wyatt was very well told tonight. WrestleMania gave us two really good, interesting matches pre-produced that we're going to talk about. Those are WrestleMania moments. Those are WrestleMania moments regardless of anything else you think. Now, this night also dragged. But I will say, I was fine with it. I thought the final three matches or so were good. I mean, when I look at the rest of the night, I didn't mind so much. Otis Dolph Ziggler was a nice touch. I actually, let me go and just run through the card and go through the rest of it. The second night, which I call day 2, right? Either which way. For the second night of the card, Liv Morgan defeated Natalya in a short match, but Liv getting the win over Natalya was actually a good thing. I like that. Charlotte Flair and Rhea Ripley by submission. Charlotte wins. And I listen, they have thrown Charlotte Flair down our throat a lot. Now, could Charlotte Flair spending time in NXT, maybe staying away from the SmackDown roster, do her some good? Possibly. They would do better working with her anyway. I mean, having Charlotte Flair, a bona fide veteran, to go down there and to work with the likes of, Shirai or Candice LeRae or what have you. I mean, not so much Shirai. Well, I guess, I don't know if she's considered heel or face at this moment if they bring her down to NXT. Because Rhea Ripley was more of the face, right? So she's going to have opponents to go take on down there. So if she does that and still works, she wasn't really working so much of everything else. It still feels weird to see that Charlotte Flair decided to take this title shot over anything else, so the Royal Rumble title shot felt weird because that's what she decided to do with the title shot, was to go for the NXT title. Does it really elevate? I guess it does. I think with Charlotte Flair being NXT champ, I think the belt is elevated to the level that Asuka or Paige or Charlotte herself at that time had the belt, or Shayna Baszler. I think she elevates the belt to that level. And remember, there was something to be said about how Charlotte did really well over there on that black and gold brand, that maybe just having her back there again wouldn't hurt. Maybe there's just nothing to do for her right now on the main roster. You could have her hold back. Becky and Shayna can continue their feud for a while. You don't want to put Charlotte in the mix with Sasha and Bayley. You've already done it. I think that Becky and Shayna have their feud on Raw, and then whatever Bayley and Sasha do, whatever they're going to do with that, the women wrestlers there, they go on and do their own thing, and then Charlotte just goes down, takes herself to NXT, and works down there for a while. That will be okay to me. I wouldn't mind it. I thought it had a good match. Rhea Ripley did look very strong tonight, and they give a lot of time, 20 minutes for the match. To have her not stay that belt holder for a long time, that's going to disappoint some people because she didn't get it that long ago. But I didn't mind how this played out myself. Interesting story where Bobby Lashley and Lana had mixed signals because Aleister Black was basically taken care of, but then a freak black mass. When Bobby Lashley tried for a spear that Lana said that he should take, that was the gist of the match. So Aleister Black gets a win at WrestleMania. As I mentioned, Otis over Dolph Ziggler. I enjoyed that match. I thought it was not bad. I actually like Sonya Deville at Dolph Ziggler's side. I actually like her out here more as a valet and not the MMA, kind of thing. I actually do like Sonya Deville here in this kind of a Zelina Vega role. The hybrid wrestler / partner in a way. I actually like that. If they're going to go and do something where Otis and Ziggler take on each other in a intergender match, that's fine too. I actually like the mixed tag. Mixed tag will be a bad idea. Maybe put that together at Money in the Bank. That would be a good idea. You could continue that storyline right there if you want. Now, Edge Randy Orton got 36 minutes. Well, this is the Triple H spot. Triple H, if he was going to have a match, would usually be this one where it's just a stretched out. And it took a lot. But, Epic, they gave it the time. Worked around the Performance Center. It was a longer match than needed to be. You could have cut this down in half. But I was still happy with it. I had no problem with the match. I thought the finish was good. The way the Edge finished up, Concerto to the end, was a nice, was a good way to finish up. I actually liked the match. I actually really enjoyed it. Didn't care very much for Street Profits and Angel Garza, Austin Theory. This is just a Raw match, just rehashed, rewarmed, whatever. And Street Profits win. Ugh. Now, the story they did tell with Lacey Evans was the last person in the match with Bayley after Sasha and Bayley were kind of like at odds for like a moment, kind of protecting each other, one for each other. And then Lacey Evans hits Sasha with the women's right to eliminate Sasha. But then Sasha hits the code breaker to Lacey Evans to knock out for Bayley. So Sasha helps Bayley. And whatever thought that Sasha was going to turn on Bayley, that's not happening. They're definitely still friends. So we're not going to get another turn again, probably not now. So that's actually kind of interesting. And that's it. And Naomi and Tamina were kind of quick work done off. 13 minutes for the Firefly Funhouse match. I actually really enjoyed that. And I thought the way they put that together was really good. I enjoyed it. And Drew McIntyre, in 4 minutes, 35 seconds, takes out Brock Lesnar. Just like that. I'm impressed. So, looking at the entire show, what can we say about what's happened here with all of this? Well, I think you look at Becky Lynch right now being the title holder still, now a full year. And you got to ask yourself, Shayna Baszler, quick work being taken out. So Becky's going to just stay champion like that? I mean, that doesn't feel good. I don't think Ronda Rousey's coming back anytime soon. I don't know who else you do right now to take, or if Shayna Baszler comes back at her. Because the other problem is Becky won, but Shayna never got any heat back. Is she going to get heat back now on Becky, and that's how we continue things on? Like, is that what we do? Because it was a fluke win. We will admit it was a fluke win, so Shayna could come back out and continue it. That's what they need to do tomorrow. I'm not going to say much about the IC title, the tag team titles. Those are just kind of irrelevant. We're just looking at the main titles here. Kevin Owens, Seth Rollins, is that the end of that whole feud? I guess. Braun Strowman winning the title. Like, who becomes his next opponent? They're going to have to determine that. And then you got to think about who is the next person that's going to be in line for Money in the Bank. Like, who do you put in that match, and who do you think would be best served to be in it? Kevin Owens, Seth Rollins, obviously that is where they're going to go. And I guess John Morrison will be in that as well. Right? Somebody like that. Maybe Bobby Lashley. I don't know. Like, you have to just ask yourself, who is going to be in that match that would serve best? So we really don't know what they're going to do when it comes to that, because we'll have 5 weeks till we get the Money in the Bank. And the other question is, what are they going to do with Money in the Bank? Are they going to actually pull that off? Will they be able to go and put that match together and do anything with it? I don't know. It's really weird. So I'm not sure what to think about all of what's going to happen here. But for what it's worth, we got to see if AJ Styles is going to come back. Like, I guess he's going to be out of commission for a while. So we're not going to see him come back. But he won't be back until after Money in the Bank, I'd imagine. Maybe SummerSlam. And, there's a lot of things that just feel so mid-card and very unlikely. But I'll tell you, something to be said where I think they have rehabilitated Bray Wyatt back. I think they have righted the ship on him. But everything's got to be said about Drew McIntyre. In just a short time, he's a made man. Like, it's not hard to go ahead and put Brock Lesnar up to a certain level of all that he has done and just say to yourself, wow, here we are. We're at this point once again. And, it's very interesting how they put it all together. Very interesting that they decided to go and keep the course with that. where Goldberg and Brock Lesnar, your part-timers, once again, no more part-timers holding the belts. And at this point of the coronavirus pandemic, you just got to ask yourself, where do they go from here? How do they pull things off? Because actually, I don't even know what they're going to do in terms of what they're going to keep going with in their matches. So what we know going forward right now is there are no words about taping plans for WrestleMania after WrestleMania. We know that the Raw for WrestleMania was taped the same week as the WrestleMania tapings. Dave Meltzer was on Wrestling Observer Radio, says that there have been discussions about carrying on with tapings in different locations. And here's what he said so far. Quote, they're looking to tape SmackDown sometime between now and Friday. I mean, there is a location they're trying to keep secret. It's supposed to be in a shutdown state, but we'll see what happens. Maybe they won't be able to do it. Maybe they will, but that's the goal at least for this week. And if WWE is able to tape more content this week than it would be, why is it tape several weeks like AEW did? So last Tuesday through Thursday, AEW taped most, if not all, the TNT Championship Tournament matches and additional matches. So if necessary, they will have content in the can for the next couple of months. Interesting. If some of those matches are not needed, then they will be used for episodes of AEW Dark. That's quite interesting. AEW has plans to keep themselves going. Now, there was a conference call that took place on Saturday. So we didn't hear about this, but here's the latest about that. President Donald Trump told officials from several major sports leagues he expects arenas and stadiums to be welcoming fans by August or September. So SummerSlam would be in jeopardy as a result, and WWE will have to account for several months of content to provide to Fox and the USA Network. So there's no words about taping plans for NXT, but they did tape a bunch of matches at Full Sail 2 weeks ago, so they might not be in such a rush to tape more content for those shows at the moment. Several matches that were scheduled for TakeOver Tampa Bay were taped and will be spread out on future episodes of NXT. So in that information from President Trump, Vince McMahon was on the conference call with all the major sports leagues to talk about what's going on. Now, ESPN's Adam Schefter says that he spoke with the heads of the commissioners of the NBA, WNBA, Major League Baseball, NFL, NHL, PGA Tour, UFC, NASCAR, MLS, and also WWE. So August, September sounds feasible. Now, I'm not going to talk too much about what's going on with the news. I'll leave that up to you how you find your news, right? But I'd like to think that if we are hitting the apex right now of the pandemic, in the hot spots in the United States right now, as for only the United States, I'm not talking about other countries, but as the United States, if we are looking at the apex of the virus right now, and we're able to go and see some loosening of the restrictions and some of the stay-at-home orders that states are putting on, you know, it will take some time, then several months to get things back to normal. But obviously, the United States wants to get the economy back on board, so they're going to try to find their way to get that back. And then after that, after several months, probably a good 60 to 90 days, will they try to go ahead and reinstitute live sports and live events again? It looks like they might be able to get arenas and certain venues opened up to do that again, that's safely being able to do all of that. So that's one that is being considered. We'll find out how they're going to pull that off. Now, another story that we haven't talked about yet is we know that Money in the Bank's coming up May 10th, but what we also don't know is what is the ultimate issue that's going to happen soon enough with Double or Nothing for AEW, because that event's supposed to be in Vegas. I don't expect that to happen. I don't know if we're going to be able to have that happen at all. Looks like they're going to kind of leave that up in the air. Now, as for AEW, with them, they are shut down indefinitely, but they have taped lots of content. So here's what the story is from Robert D. Felice from Fightful.com. They did film multiple weeks of television, may not return until social distancing guidelines permit. So Dave Meltzer did report that multiple weeks of television have been taped, including the AEW TNT Championship Tournament up until the finals. They were at QT Marshall's training facility, his wrestling school in Georgia, which now has a shelter-in-place order. The finals were set to take place at Double or Nothing, but again, the MGM Grand is shut down indefinitely. Now, the same crew that appeared on the April 1st Dynamite will be present throughout the next few weeks, with Chris Jericho doing a lot of television announcing as talent was unable to travel. So Wrestling Everywhere felt the effect. WWE has taped all the way up to the April 8th, or this Wednesday's NXT, including taping WrestleMania. And that's where we are with all of that. So we don't know what's going to happen after that, after all said and done. The future of wrestling, we're going to just keep in this taping cycle, and we're going to have tape content, which is fine with me. I also noticed that Impact Wrestling has been able to keep up with programming. I'm surprised how they've been able to keep up, because they've been running the Samstown tapings as of late, and they've continued on since. So Ringside News reports about Impact Wrestling. They said that Wrestling Observer reporting and Ringside News reports here, Impact Wrestling is good on TV content for now. They have about 3 weeks left before they have to figure something out. Plus, Impact Wrestling has a lot of archive content they can use. So there's a lot of that they can go and work on at the moment, which would be helpful for them. That's where they're at the moment. W is still taping as well, and I'm not sure how they're doing that, but they have a MLW versus Triple A event on what they've been doing, and I'm not sure what's happening with all that they're going to actually be happening. So I'm going to go to the Overtimer that actually talked about this story. So they did have a Triple A versus MLW event on March 13th, and that is the last thing that was actually taped. So at the moment, they still have content to work off of. They've been running episodes from the 2300 Arena, which has been taped already, and that's where they are right now. And they're running the Philly tapings for the last few weeks. That's what they had. So we'll see what happens about them taping new content going forward. That's where they're going to be stuck with that. We don't have any news when it comes to Ring of Honor, except for the fact that Ray Horace was actually signed by the company last week. Other than that, we have not much else to work off of. But the latest where we did have, and we're going to last one on Pro Wrestling about this, they still have plans to air weekly content through the TV show and adding historic content to the Honor Club. So they really didn't say much else. I guess they're just going to run, tape content, archive content. That's all they're going to be able to work off of in the meantime. And the latest we heard about when it came to New Japan Pro Wrestling is they were going to try to continue their trek with wrestling. Sports Illustrated talked about them, that they hope to continue going forward. They're supposed to be having an upcoming Wrestle Dynasty show at Madison Square Garden as part of a potential working agreement, or the potential working agreement with AEW. They're trying to get that set up as well. So date for return of live shows is unknown. Probably possibility still exists that the New Japan Cup tournament might still happen, and that plans are still in place at the moment for New Japan to hold its first ever Wrestle Dynasty show in New York City at Madison Square Garden August 22nd. So we can still see how that all happens. We'll see what comes up. So we got through WrestleMania. Hey, for the credit of a wrestling world, we got through one of the major shows of the year. A lot of smaller shows and other events were not able to happen, which is very unfortunate. But hey, man, we just have to sit this out a little bit longer. Personally, when I look at everything here, I think we're going to be able to come out of this. I think we're going to start seeing ourselves on the other side of the hill when it comes to the extreme things that have been going on with what's happened here with this pandemic. I think we're on the other side of it. We're going to start recovering. The aftermath is going to be coming to us sooner than we think. I'd like to think at the end of this month, we will be trying to put this behind us. Obviously, we'll still have a lot of effects that will have come because of this. There's no doubt about that. But I think we're going to come out of this okay. We're not going to come out of it without a lot of things happening in terms of people dying. I mean, that's just it's an inevitability. But I think that we're going to get ourselves, regardless of how this turns out, how tragic or gruesome it might be, I think we're finding ourselves on the other side of this now. I think we're going to get there soon. And with that said, maybe we can get ourselves much more cautiously back into some kind of normalcy, whatever that new normalcy is going to be. Like, I'm not saying we're going to be turning into something completely different, but I think people are going to be much more copacetic about things. I think people are really going to be much more cautious. Hygiene is going to be a big thing. I think there's just a lot of things there's going to be something that changes. I think we're going to still get most of the comforts that we have, but I think things will change overall, and we're going to see those changes. That'll be overall, and, it might be for the better for everybody. We'll leave it there. Anyway, I'll come back after Raw, after WrestleMania, see what they're able to go and do, and come back with Dynamite and NXT and all that good stuff, and we'll come back after all that. Come back for another Wrestling is Real podcast this coming Wednesday going into Thursday, because wrestling needs us.
Thank you for listening to the Wrestling is Real podcast, brought to you by KingofAmazon.com. For more information on how to subscribe to the show, how to share the Wrestling is Real podcast to listeners like you, and check out the latest wrestling headlines, go to WrestlingIsReal.com. That's WrestlingIsReal.com.